Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole with your hosts, Sika Groves, Rachel Bender, and our new co-host, Ian Russell. And today's show is The Ghosts of Niagara on the Lake. So I'm just going to get Rachel on the line. Let's just see if she's here. Good afternoon. Rachel, is that you? Hey, Rachel, or is this Ian?
This is Rachel.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, hey, Rachel. Good. So something went a little wonky with our intro today. I did a new intro. And apparently it didn't play off the top of the show. So
wow.
Not sure why. You know, we always have to have a little glitch when something new is happening.
It's tradition. Now we've gotten the glitch out the way. We're going to have a fantastic show with no more glitches. And yes, hey, I am touching wood as we speak.
That's it. We still got the cool music off the top of the show, but for some reason the rest of the intro didn't kick in, which is all right. Okay. I'll look at that when we're through today. And thankfully, I'm always live when the show goes on air. So here to fix that. So we've got Ian calling in. So let's just get him on the line. 1 second. Here we go. Hey, Ian, is that you?
It's me. Good afternoon, ladies.
All right. Good afternoon. So Rachel's already on the line, and I had this great new intro all set up. I got your name added in there, and I changed up the music, and for some reason it didn't play off the top of the show. So
isn't technology wonderful?
I know. And so I got some intro music going, but for some reason the actual intro didn't play. But that's okay. I used my own live voice to introduce us. So we did get that far. So today's show, The Ghosts of Niagara on the Lake. And Rachel, I just want to ask you before we start, are you feeling better this week?
I am a little. Thank you. I really appreciate you asking. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's some issues there, but I'm just hanging in there as always, thinking positive thoughts about it.
Yeah, you know, but glad you're feeling better, and that's good. And we've got you on this week's show, so we're going to talk about the ghosts. Yeah, we're going to talk about the ghosts of Niagara on the Lake. And by the way, I don't know, did you get a chance to listen to the Winchester Mystery House show?
No, I did not. I apologize.
Okay.
It's been a crazy week of catching up. We are we've just started distance learning with the children, which is a
busy week.
Takes so much time, with Zoom meetings, things. But I do apologize. I'm sure, Ian, you did a fantastic job, and I really just want to thank you for stepping in, especially in the last minute. So, I really sort of appreciate that, and I look forward to you being our third co-host.
Yeah, I think we had a good show, did we not, Ian?
It was a very
fantastic topic.
Yeah,
I really was looking forward to doing the Winchester House. It's somewhere that I really, really, really want to go and visit in person, just so I can experience it for myself. I learned some interesting facts about it. I had no idea that the Winchester House was the inspiration for the haunted house at Disney World. I was like, oh, that's cool. I had absolutely no idea about that, so it's great. Yeah, it was really, I was so disappointed not to be able to do the show last week.
That's okay. We had a lot of fun, and I think we decided that once the pandemic's passed and things are safe, that it might be one of those places that, Ian and myself and yourself, and that we might want to go and do an investigation.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yes.
So we'll think about that. We've probably got a good year to plot that one out. But before, I really want to get on a plane and go anywhere at this point. But so today's show topic is the ghosts of Niagara on the Lake. And I know, Rachel, like you live in upstate New York, and I don't know, have you been to Niagara on the Lake before?
No, I have not.
No? Okay. So this will be kind of a learning episode for you too, right? And what would really be great is Ian has spent a lot of time investigating there. And I've
Really?
spent a lot of years there, and I've done tours there, historical tours and haunted tours, and plus it's a big area for me in terms of archaeology and the War of 1812. So I would love it if you could even ask us questions that you think the listeners might want to know too, right? Because I think, Ian, that's probably a really great way for us to be able to tackle the subject, because there is such a vast amount of things to cover.
Oh yeah.
Sure. But I'm gonna let Ian sort of start the show off with, you know, what he's done there, and you know, you can go into some detail. We've got 2 hours, so we have plenty of time to cover it. I'm of course going to be as I said, the fly in the ointment in some cases, not because I like to debunk things just for the sake of debunking them, but I like to let people know that while, you know, some of the stories that we hear for Niagara on the Lake are really great, some of them historically are not accurate. And by all means, that does not mean the place is not haunted. It's just not haunted with the people that they think it's haunted with, and we'll get into that as we go, right? Because it'll make more sense as we go along. But Ian, if you want to kind of just guide us through Niagara on the Lake, and especially Rachel, she's never been before, so for her this is going to be she's going on your tour, your ghost on tour. So whatever you feel.
I'm so intrigued. I'm dying to know.
Yeah. Niagara on the Lake used to be called Newark, as in Newark, New Jersey, or New York, wherever Newark is in the United States. It had the same name.
Newark, New Jersey.
It was the capital of what was Upper Canada at that time, which is now Southern Ontario. Prior to the War of 1812 starting. And for me, the centerpiece of Niagara on the Lake has got to be Fort George, the British fortifications that were there and still exist today. To me, that's the heart of Niagara on the Lake itself. A little bit of history. That's not too
far from where I am then.
Well,
we're on the other side.
It's still 4 hours away, Rachel.
Right. Right.
Because you're all the way up by
Kingston. A quick drive in American towns, I understand it.
Right, because you're closer to Ogdensburg, and that's closer to Kingston. So if you think Niagara on the Lake is essentially the north end of Buffalo. Okay, so Niagara Falls, Buffalo, that sort of is, so it's Niagara Falls, New York, cross the river, Niagara Falls, Ontario. So it's just at the north of Buffalo.
Niagara on the Lake is right across the river from Youngstown, New York.
Yeah, New York, yep. So just the north end of, north of Buffalo, so yeah. So imagine that. So it's about 3.5 hours from you.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's very much like Ogdensburg.
A small town, sort of.
A small town. Very touristy.
It is. You can walk from one end of it to the other in 15 or 20 minutes.
I could do it in 5.
It's a beautiful little
driven past it.
It's a beautiful little town.
It is.
A lot of people claim that it's actually the prettiest little town in all of Canada.
Really?
Others will also say that it's also the most haunted.
I
know, Sika, you disagree with that.
I do.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's not. It's not that it's not haunted. It's just not the most haunted. So.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Right, and that's okay because we can do that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, with the War of 1812, Fort George was bombed as the opening volley of the Niagara campaign after the Battle of Queenston Heights, a few months before. and that's what drove the British out. The Americans completely destroyed Fort George and just set up encampment in Niagara on the Lake. In December the 10th, 1813, the British had regrouped, were re-advancing to take back their lost territory. And in the Americans' retreat, they burned the entire town to the ground. And a lot of people say that is what has provoked a lot of these hauntings. Not all of them, because not all of them are related to the War of 1812. But it's this traumatic effect that just developed into this residual energy. Some of it's intelligent energy. Yeah.
It's an interesting place.
It is.
Indeed.
It is.
So having given tours there myself years and years ago, and I say historical tours and haunted tours, because let's be frank, they're two completely different things. You can I have a haunted history tour now, and it combines both. And while the previous haunted tour did combine history as well, it's kind of lacking in terms. It really is more of a walk geared to, the hauntings of the place. But at the same time, my experiences, I'm going to walk Rachel just through the town in terms of what it looks like, and so that our listeners, if they haven't been there, can kind of get an idea. And I'm going to give you the idea of the town in 1812 as opposed to 2020. Okay, because in 2020 now, a lot of the facade of the town has changed. Even though we have this little main street that runs down and through town, and it's all dotted with cute little storefronts and et cetera, restaurants. In 1812, it didn't look like that. In 1812, it was very sparsely laid out, right? It was a town, but it was also, people were living there. And so for the most part, the properties were larger than they are today. Today, they've been cut down considerably in size. Even the old remaining homes don't have the property that they used to. So at the beginning of the War of 1812, there were not a lot of people. The population of Niagara on the Lake was somewhere in the vicinity of between 120 and 200 people. And we don't really have...
Was that considered a lot for the time? Was that considered a lot of people for that particular time period? Yeah. I
mean, again, yes, but no, right? I mean, they're spread out fairly widely too. So what we think of Niagara on the Lake today is we think of this little downtown, this little main street. But back at that time when it was Newark, it was farms. And, these were people who had come, a lot of them loyalists from the U.S., had made their way here, were loyal to the crown, were given land, and they were given acreage to farm. So even, when we look at it today, it looks very different, of course, in the downtown. There's a lot of new houses in there. There's a lot of, there's a lot more buildings than there was in 1812. So in 1812, we're still looking at a very rural farming community with, it had one small store, and that was pretty much it at the time. It didn't have any, it did, I will say, because it was Newark and it was sort of the capital of Canada, they did have a jail and a courthouse. So that was kind of, and today that's known as the town hall. And so they did have that there, and that was sort of set up. But the geography of the area in terms of population and housing is nothing like it is today. And so when you go in and you do a tour today and you're walking through the downtown area of Niagara on the Lake, it's much more condensed and much more populated than it was at the time. Some of the buildings that are there now, obviously we'll just say most of the buildings that are there now are not original to that time because